You know, out in Pine Ridge, Montana, tucked up against those jagged peaks where the wind howls like it's got stories of its own, there was this kid named Alex Thompson, just 16, tall and skinny like a pine sapling that hadn't quite filled out yet. And he was clinging to this beat-up leather jacket that smelled like old engine grease and faded campfire smoke, his dad's last real piece of him. You see, after a heart attack took Michael Thompson way too soon, leaving Alex and his mom, Sarah, scraping by in a little clapboard house on the edge of town. But at Pine Ridge High, that jacket wasn't some sacred relic. Nah, it was a bullseye, drawing in the likes of Dylan Hayes, the junior varsity quarterback with a mean streak wider than the Missouri River, who hated how Alex carried himself quiet and steady, like he had something unbreakable inside, probably cause Dylan's own dad had bailed years back, leaving him with a mom who worked nights and a bitterness that turned everything he touched sour. So yeah, he channeled that envy into making Alex's life hell, starting with snide comments that escalated into shoves and spills, all because Dylan couldn't stand seeing someone hold on to a legacy when his own felt like dust. Alex would pull that jacket tight every morning, feeling the patches faded eagles, shields, and that emblem from his dad's old crew, Riders Against Kid Harm, or RAKH as they called it, reminding him of Michael's Gulf War tales and late-night rides. But by lunchtime, Dylan and his pack would circle up, smirking like they owned the place, and Dylan'd lean in close, voice dripping with that fake toughness. Nice hand-me-down. Thompson, your old man leave you his clown suit too? And the laughs would ripple out, sharp as broken bottles, while Alex bit his tongue, cause Michael had drilled into him that real strength wasn't in swinging fists, but in standing tall, even if inside it felt like his chest was caving in, wondering if honoring his dad was worth turning every school day into a gauntlet of whispers and tripped feet. Sarah saw it all unraveling. Working doubles at the local diner, flipping burgers and pouring coffee for truckers who tipped in change, her eyes always a little shadowed now. But she'd never tell Alex to ditch the jacket, no. She'd catch him in it at the kitchen table, homework scattered, and she'd pause, hand on his shoulder, murmuring, "Your dad wore that thing like armor, kiddo, and it suits you just fine." Though deep down she worried he was bending under the weight, trying to carry a grown man's ghost on teenage shoulders, especially when the rumors started flying. Kids saying Alex was playing tough guy or stuck in the past, and Dylan, fueled by that gnawing jealousy over Alex's unshakable tie to something real, ramped it up, knocking books from his hands in the hall, once even dumping his backpack in the creek after school, laughing as Alex fished it out soaked, the water blurring the ink on his notes like it was washing away his resolve bit by bit. But Alex held on, stubborn as those Montana winters, sitting out on the porch some nights under a sky so big it swallowed you whole, jacket wrapped around him, remembering how Michael used to rev his bike in the driveway, the rumble vibrating through the house like a heartbeat, teaching Alex to balance on two wheels, and whispering about the RAKH rides where they'd roll out to protect kids who needed it most, folks like the ones getting bullied or worse, and Alex would close his eyes, wishing that rumble could drown out the echoes of Dylan's taunts. But the pressure built, you know, like a storm gathering over the hills, until one crisp October afternoon when Dylan cornered him by the lockers, the hall emptying out, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry bees, and Dylan grabbed the sleeve, yanking hard enough to strain the seams, snarling, "How much you pay for this rag at the thrift shop?" "Huh, bet it stinks like failure." And Alex shoved back for the first time, voice cracking but fierce, "Back off, it's my dad's, you don't get it." Panic flaring, cause losing that jacket would be like burying Michael all over again. But a teacher rounded the corner just in time, scattering the crew, though the sting lingered, hot and deep, making Alex question if his quiet defiance was just digging his own grave. That night, as the cicadas hummed and the moon hung low over the pines, Sarah sat with him on the steps, handing over a mug of hot cocoa that steamed in the chill, and she sighed, soft like she was afraid to break the quiet. "You don't gotta shoulder this solo. Alex, your dad's gone, but that doesn't mean you gotta prove something every damn day." And he stared at the cracked concrete where Michael had once patched up his scraped knees, muttering, "If I hang it up, Mom, it's like I'm letting them erase him." Like none of it mattered, his voice trailing off into the dark, tears prickling but unshed, cause showing weakness felt like betrayal, and somewhere in the distance, that faint growl of engines echoed, stirring memories of Michael's buddies rolling in after a long haul, leather vests patched up like badges of honor, and Alex clung to that sound like a lifeline, not knowing it was about to pull him out of the depths. By midfall, with the air thick with wood smoke and leaves crunching underfoot, Dylan's crew turned the screws tighter, tripping Alex in the cafeteria, so his tray splattered across the floor, mocking the jacket during gym like it was some bad joke, and Dylan, nursing that grudge from his own fractured home where legacy meant an empty chair at dinner, saw Alex's resilience as a personal affront, whispering to his buddies about teaching the wannabe biker a lesson, their pranks edging into outright meanness, like slashing his bike tires one afternoon, leaving him to walk home in the gathering dusk, jacket heavy with defeat, but still on, cause ditching it would mean admitting Dylan won. Alex's world narrowed to dodging Shadow's side doors, empty lots until the town fair rolled around, Sarah nudging him out the door with a hopeful smile. Get some fresh air, there's more to Pine Ridge than those hallways. So he went, jacket zipped against the wind, whipping through the stalls of caramel, corn, and hay bales, feeling almost normal for a beat, until Dylan spotted him, swaggering over with that predatory grin, voice loud enough to turn heads. Look who's haunting the fair, ghost of Michael Thompson, everybody. The sarcasm biting deep caused strangers chuckled awkwardly, and Alex's fists clenched, pulse racing. But before it boiled over, this burly guy in a weathered vest stepped up from a nearby booth, beard salted with gray, eyes steady as granite, his own patch matching Michael's old RAKH emblem. And he sized up the scene, voice rumbling low but firm. You okay there, kid? Making Dylan shift uneasily for the first time, like the air had thickened. Alex nodded quick, hands shaky, and Dylan tried to play it cool, muttering, just messing around, man, no big deal. But the biker Grizz, he called himself, narrowed his eyes, replying with a dry chuckle that held no humor. Jokes, huh? Funny, 'cause from here it looks like picking on a kid half your size, real tough guy stuff. And his gaze locked on the jacket, recognition lighting up his face like a spark. Name's Grizz, I rode with your old man, Michael. Damn fine rider, that one. Placing a heavy hand on Alex's shoulder, solid and reassuring. While Dylan slunk off with his tail between his legs, the balance tipping just a hair, though Alex knew it wouldn't last, whispering to Grizz, you really knew him? And Grizz nodded. Faint smile cracking through. Miles and miles. Kid, if trouble finds you, you holler. We take care of our own. Planting that seed of hope amid the carnival lights. But sure enough, Dylan, smarting from the public smackdown, doubled down the next week, dumping soda on Alex's books in the lunchroom, shoving him against a locker after class with a hiss threat. Your biker buddy won't always be around. Thompson, then what? Fear coiling in Alex's gut like a snake, making school feel like a trap closing slow. Then came that Friday walk home, sky bruised purple with coming rain, when Dylan and 3 others pounded up behind, shoving Alex into the dirt, pinning him as Dylan yanked at the jacket, growling. Time to strip this fake armor off, you ain't tough. You're just pathetic. Alex thrashing, desperate. Get off, it's all I got left of him. You jerk. Heart hammering, cause this was it, the breaking point. Until that distant thunder rolled in, not storm but engines, low and growing, headlights cresting the hill like avenging stars, 10, 20, 30 bikes roaring down in tight formation, chrome flashing, the ground shaking as they pulled up, engines cutting out in unison, leaving a silence heavier than lead. Grizz swung off first, boots crunching gravel, kneeling by Alex with an outstretched hand. Up you get. Saw no one's touching that jacket today. And as Alex stood, shaky but unbroken, Grizz turned to Dylan, voice calm but edged like a blade. Listen close. Punk, you lay a finger on Michael's boy again, and you'll answer to all of us. He rides under our protection now, got it? Dylan's face drained white, stammering. We didn't mean just fooling, but his crew scattered like leaves in the wind. The power flip so sudden it left Alex breathless, surrounded now by these leather-clad giants who weren't outlaws but guardians. Their vests patched with purpose, and the town folks peeking from windows, whispering about the army that rolled in for the Thompson kid, shifting everything in that moment from isolation to something like belonging. Word spread like wildfire through Pine Ridge High come Monday, halls buzzing with tales of the biker convoy, kids parting like the Red Sea as Alex walked in, jacket proud, No more shoves or snickers, though Dylan lurked in the shadows, eyes burning with resentment, his ego bruised deeper than any punch. Cause getting called out publicly exposed his own cracks, that jealousy over Alex's unyielding tie to a dad who stuck around in memory. While his felt like a void, and he hissed as Alex passed. Think your guardians can babysit forever? They'll bail, and I'll be waiting. But Alex kept walking, doubt flickering but hope flickering brighter, especially after another close call by the bike racks. Dylan shoving hard. No one's here now. Thompson, let's finish this. Only for 6 bikes to rumble into the lot, led by a tough woman with braided hair and a no-nonsense stare, striding up. Problem, boys, sending Dylan fleeing again. Her words to Alex steady. Grizz sent us, we don't break promises, turning what felt like random luck into a shield of loyalty. That night, the RAKH crew gathered at the Thompson place. Boots off at the door, vests slung over chairs, Sarah dishing out stew with tears in her eyes as the room filled with rough laughs and stories of Michael, how he'd lead charges for scared kids. His bike always first in line, and Grizz leaned in, telling Alex, your dad bragged about you on every ride. Said you had steel in your veins. Wearing that jacket? That's not weakness, kid, it's a beacon, cracking through Alex's walls, replacing loneliness with this raw warmth, a family forged in chrome and conviction. And Alex whispered, eyes misty, I won't let it go, feeling for the first time like he wasn't just surviving, but standing tall. But Dylan, cornered by his own shame, plotted one last strike. His motive twisted from that festering envy, wanting to shatter Alex's symbol to prove his own pain mattered more, and he picked the town's big Veterans Day parade, where Alex planned to march with Sarah, jacket on in honor of Michael, the streets lined with flags and brass bands, crowds swelling under a crisp blue sky, Alex stepping proud, each stride bridging loss and legacy, folks nodding respect at the RAKH patch, until Dylan darted from the sidelines, grabbing the jacket with a vicious yank, snarling, strip it off, you fraud, you don't deserve his shadow. Gasps rippling as Alex stumbled, clutching tight, Sarah crying out, let him go. Chaos freezing the march, Alex's terror peaking as the seam strained. And then the roar hit, dozens of bikes surging onto Main Street, flags whipping from handlebars, 30 RAKH riders forming an iron phalanx around the parade, engines throbbing like a heartbeat, Grizz dismounting swift, path clear to Dylan, commanding, hands off now. Dylan's grip faltering under the weight of those stairs and the silent town, shoving Alex back with a defeated mutter before vanishing into the crowd, his rein crumbling like old clay. Grizz steadied Alex, voice booming over the hush. This ain't just leather, it's a flag of honor, carried by Michael's son, and no kid fights alone on our watch. Fists raised in salute from the riders, applause erupting hesitant then thunderous, veterans nodding, kids cheering wide-eyed, Sarah beaming through tears as the parade reformed with Alex at the front, flanked by the rumbling escort, cameras flashing. The town transforming the moment into legend, not spectacle, but pure solidarity, Alex's chin lifting, jacket empowering now, every patch a chapter in his story, not just Michael's. As the square filled with cheers, Grizz hoisted Alex's hand, declaring, he rides with Uselways. The approval roaring back louder than any engine, Alex's heart swelling with belonging, not revenge, but a quiet triumph that drowned out the grief. That evening, under a star-scattered sky, Alex sat on the porch, jacket loose around him, the distant rumble of departing bikes fading like a promise kept, Sarah joining him, whispering, your dad's smiling somewhere, kid, not just at the jacket, but at you. And Alex smiled faint, the weight lighter, transformed into strength, knowing he wasn't alone anymore. That legacy wasn't a burden but a bridge to something unbreakable. Though, you gotta wonder, was calling in the cavalry the right way to handle a bully like Dylan? Or does it just push the real problems deeper, letting resentment simmer in the shadows? What do you think? Drop a comment below. Was this justice served? Or should kids like Alex tough it out solo? Share your take on bullies, legacies, or those community clashes that hit close to home. And if this tale got you thinking, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so we can keep sharing these real-life twists together.